and already am remembering the hero music.
The actual good music.
Yeah.
So, welcome to hell, guys. Alright. No, I'm not wrong.
No, you're not.
Alright, so, there we go. So, this is gonna be 5 Days a Stranger. This is the first game in the Khazo mythos. I'm gonna be commenting on this with Arpeggio.
Hey guys.
And I am doing the special edition with author commentary on because there's a lot to take apart with the with Yahtzee's thoughts on this game. So without further ado, let's get started. And by the way, you can just smell the edgelord or taste the edgelord or whatever from Trilby's
Opening monologue. Yeah.
Yeah, this is not subtle, as usual.
Yeah. It's a weird thing I've noticed about Yahtzee in some of his videos. Like, he praises subtlety in a lot of games, and then other games, misses it completely.
Also, a reminder, this game is fucking tiny.
Oh, yeah. Joey isn't a character in this game, Yahtzee. He's a character in the third game. Here, he's just a puppet.
I can literally, I can, it's just fap, 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 fap.
Yeah, basically. This paragraph becomes funny in about a minute.
Okay, so, alright, so, the, user interface is down here, and as you can see, everything is brown, which is great for being able to see what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah, it's like, if I have a magnifying glass and kind of take it, you might be able to see everything slightly better. Trilby is very judgmental.
Yes, he is. So yeah, this is the only look we ever get at Belinda, if I recall correctly.
I can't even remember.
I'm genuinely amused that Trilby apparently thinks that they might have kept the desk around since Victorian age, but that's me. Scorpion Sphere 77 says, I got lost playing Sam and Max Hit the Road. I'd never finish this game with an interface like that. Oh, trust me, this is not... It's gonna get worse before it gets better. It's gonna get
I'm just gonna go
before it gets better.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw out to right now as a reminder, don't forget that stupid newspaper.
I won't. By the way, just for shits and giggles, Yahtzee is from Warwick, so... That's why it's University of Warwick.
Mm.
Wow, fuck you.
I admit I do have a weakness for the stop poking me things.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, let's see. Click on. There we go.
Once you can carefully position the mouse to actually be able to function.
Mm-hmm. You have to click in the general area to make it go.
Hmm.
Just remember that the trilby is basically the fedora of what is it? What do you call them? Dude bros?
I mean, I guess. To be fair, I wear a trilby in real life myself, so
I don't think we
I
can be
can't say
friends
much.
anymore. Sorry.
Fair enough. I actually get quite a few compliments on it at work, so
I mean, trilbies
works
are
for
good
me.
looking, but they're just so, milady. Yes, we already did that. Yes, we already did that. Fedoras are nice. It's just there are way too many assholes that wear them, unfortunately. Okay, so note that Trilby does not even try to break the window open or anything like that. So the only other way out is through the door.
Must be those self-sealing windows I've heard about. No, they just caulk themselves up after you shut them. This theme that's playing right now reminds me of another game. I just can't put my finger on what it is.
Anything was better than this.
Yeah, well, no, it's just this specific theme that's playing. Is it Shadowgate?
Yeah, because revealing his identity is so much worse than death, right?
Yeah, so let me just pull off my face concealing ski mask.
Oh my god.
No, he really didn't have to take it off, Yahtzee.
You could have gone the whole game with it.
Yeah.
It's not like I can see his face anyway.
Yeah, I remember bringing this up during the first time we played through this. It's like, the graphics are too simple for facial expressions, so you have to rely on body language and atmosphere. I mean, to be fair, what he's saying in this paragraph here about the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is kind of a thing that affects me a lot, too. That, and also, to be fair, bathrooms are strangely a staple of horror games.
Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense. In bathrooms, you're usually, you either have your pants down or whatever.
Yeah.
You're vulnerable.
Yeah. It's like, it makes sense. Except in a time where they're just meant for the jump scare monster out of the stall. It's just like, why were you hiding there?
Okay, so that's a bidet. I don't have one, so it's not really an American thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have one either, so I'm just like, yeah.
And the only ones I've seen were usually a combo toilet bidet, so. Scorpion Sphere 77 says Psycho probably helped codify that trope. Yeah, I mean that's pretty like what? Not I wouldn't maybe not the trope codifier, but the most triumphant example.
More than likely, yes. You know, it's one of those scenes that's parodied, homaged, and everything, and just about anything. Like, even if you haven't seen Psycho, you know that scene.
Yeah.
And the newspaper, which you can't do.
I can't actually do it yet.
Yeah, just remember it when you have to collect that crap.
Yeah, thank you. You're in charge of making sure I actually hit the event flags this time.
That's the only one I can remember off the top of my head.
I think that was the only big one that I was having trouble with.
Yeah. Other than that, this one is... It has some pixel hunts, but it's mostly kind of straightforward.
I mean, it can be worse. It can be so much worse, and I acknowledge that. And this isn't... As far as this series goes, this is not a bad game. This is a mediocre game, but it's not bad.
Yeah, it suffers from just being the first one.
Yeah.
You know. It's just...
It's there.
Yeah, and it shouldn't go from this to whatever the fuck we call the next one.
A Welsh gesture, how very bourgeois. I kind of... I just want to take a mop and just smack him in the face with it.
The endless fun of keeping the mouse cursor just in so I can actually click the damn commands.
That thing. Let me grab that thing. There we go. By the way, this is the lamest living room of all time. TV room, whatever you want to call it. Should we give the least the first point for incompetency, or do we want to just hand that to Trilby?
Let's hand it to Trilby.
Because he didn't even try to break open the window. He took off his face concealing mask when it's so important.
It's just like,
There's so many
yeah.
flaws here. I can't pick one.
Space.
Changed from a space station to a manor house, which was left less absurd. You should have kept that in mind, Yahtzee.
Yeah.
We haven't even gotten there. We're already in pain.
Yeah, well, it's more just like we know what's coming.
Yeah, we do. Regrettably.
And it's just like we got to get through baby's first steps and then the terrible twos before we get to, a good game.
Mm-hmm. And to be fair, it is a very good game.
Yes. Trilby's Notes is actually really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which makes what comes after it almost even worse than it already is, but.
We should have given it points for that. I mean, let's face it. It's not like there was a lack of stupid points for that game.
Yeah.
Also, anytime I try to take Trilby seriously, I have to remember that it's like everyone's calling him Fedora. The entire game. On a random note, it's kind of creeping me out how Phil's head is just kind of jerking back and up and down. Actually, both of them, but yeah, you get my point.
Yeah, I mean, I get why it happens, just to help simulate talking and movement, but yeah.
Their heads are jerking around while the rest of their body is completely frozen. I
Yeah.
think we're beyond that point of this. God, these idiots like talking.
Yep. Well, you know how it is. Exposition. Get that shit out ASAP.
Can we get the music back? At least then it's like my brain doesn't want to melt out of its ears just from sitting through this.
Yeah. It's like music, come back, save us. Yeah, but that would require a lot more effort for you to actually animate. Which I'm fine with the shortcut here, but it's just kind of like, stop mentioning that there's a drop off behind the mansion without drawing one. Because I remember that.
The completely non-existent ravine that still doesn't exist in 3 games.
Yeah.
or at the end of the, or for that matter, at the end of this game. It can't be that hard to add a ravine. Alright. Hey, creepy shadowy figure.
To be fair, I do actually like that. It's a nice little touch.
No, it's one of the good subtle parts. It's just
Yeah.
the rest of this stupid thing. Now I sit back and go through more exposition.
Yes, there are more pressing matters, dear.
4 days she's been here, and she's not concerned.
Uh, well, this is how you can tell that these people are horror game characters. They're fucking
idiots.
morons.
Nope, gotta switch to the damn. What are those windows pointing out to?
Hell if I know. Maybe if you look through them at the right angle, you can actually see the ravine. You know, it's like one of those magic eye picture things. You gotta look at it just right.
Seriously though, how hard would it have been to just add some green or something out there? It's Yahtzee, never mind.
Yeah. Well, the sad thing is, he shows that he can put effort into something and have it turn out good.
Oh, okay, so I guess they're dark because the windows are dirty. That's still not how that works, but...
I mean, those windows would have to have been dirtied up and left in such a state for a long damn time to be that opaque.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it sounds like it sounds like the house has been, unoccupied for a long time, and oh my god, these fucking windows are gonna I can't stop thinking about these fucking windows. Help.
Yeah. Yeah, it does seem like the house is probably undergoing renovations, and I guess windows wouldn't be on a super high priority list compared to, appliances, electricity, plumbing. but
You know
still.
what would have solved this whole problem? Board them up.
Yeah, that would work.
So yeah, they're going to be stuck in here for 5 days, including this day, and there is no food.
Yeah, that's how we end up dead very quickly.
And why the hell is there? Do they just have a giant sack of salt? I don't even. Since when is salt in sacks?
Not for a long time has it been stored like that.
A ravine that you couldn't even be asked to add to your opening and ending scenes.
And it's not like it hasn't already been implied that there's a supernatural force keeping everyone here. I would buy that the grapple just would not latch to anything. Just like you try to tunnel under and suddenly your shovels just break. You try to claw it out yourself, you just hit clay and can't get through it. Like, I can buy stuff like that. It's easy to buy because it makes sense for the setting. Same thing with something like this. Tree branch leading out over, right as you get up to it, it breaks and fall. You know?
And that adds to the whole feeling that the thing is plotting against you.
Yeah. Of course, ultimately, the only thing it makes me think about is, man, Rose Red was a really good series.
Yes, it was. And it did this way better.
Yeah.
Now I kind of want to go watch it to purge after this, but I'm gonna be busy playing Don't Escape 3 after 7 days. So, oh god, I hate this game.
Don't Escape games. I've played the first one, I believe.
First one and the first 3 I've played because they're freeware. Second one I didn't care so much for because it was
that was the zombie one.
Yeah, that's the zombie one, and that one was timed, which stresses me out. So I didn't play it more than once. But they're all of them are good games.
Yeah, like I said, I know I played the first one at least, which is the werewolf thing.
And then Don't Escape 3 is basically the plot of 7 days, except shorter and done well.
Yeah, no, I remember I've seen Markiplier play through the first 3. I think a 4th one came out recently, but I haven't looked at it yet.
That one, it came out recently, but it's not freeware, so I haven't played it.
Yeah.
It's probably amazing, though.
Yeah, probably.
The other ones have been amazing, so. Exposition, 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 exposition.
Truly, RJ McCready, you are not. I said, RJ McCready, you are not. For one thing, you're not played by Kurt Russell.
For another, you're not likable or relatable in the slightest.
Until the 3rd game. Man, we are just gonna fucking polish that cock until the end of time, aren't we?
The third game? Oh yeah. But or are you talking about
The,
them
the
and
third game.
yeah, no, the third game. Well, the third game deserves it to be honest. To be fair.
Yeah. No, it's just like every other game in this, we just shit all over. Third game, you just watch us, cup the balls as we work the shaft.
I don't particularly care for how you put it, but you're not wrong. Because it's actually good, for God's sake. I mean, it wasn't this. It's not difficult to make a good game, and then we have the last game, and it's no.
Yeah, it's so awful. It's just like, okay, you had the first one, which this one has flaws, but it's also the first attempt. Okay, we're gonna punch it a lot, but we kind of give you a bit of saving grace. The second one, no excuse. Like, you every possible misstep. Third game, all of a sudden, you've jumped to your feet, come back with a second wind, and delivered something amazing, and you couldn't keep it going?
Apparently not. It's like it's not even that the last game was bad. It was bad.
Yeah. Also, how did you come to be here? That is such an awkward way of wording that.
It's very British.
Hmm.
Why would they just leave after you didn't show up? Why? Oh my god. Oh god,
Yeah,
everything hurts. Oh god.
yeah. Camera crew arrives, and the person that you're supposed to be filming isn't there. Well, for one, you're going to probably start making a few phone calls after about 15 minutes, wondering why you've missed your appointment. And when they can't get a hold of you, they're probably at least going to raise the alarm at the news
BBC,
station.
yeah.
Yeah. And then if they haven't heard from you by the next day, they're probably going to contact the police.
Assuming the police actually do anything. Because it's this
Eh,
game.
yeah, true. I mean, I think it has to be 24 hours, at least some places, or before missing persons report can be filed.
But
But even then, you could.
they can still put in an alert.
Yeah.
But yeah, they could have just said, "How did you end up here?" That would have been a bit
Yeah.
more natural sounding.
Yeah. It's like, how did you come to be here, or how did they come to be here? Almost seems like something to be said from narration standpoint, not a direct personal standpoint.
I will say that Trilby is a pretentious twat enough that he might actually say it that way just to make himself feel, smart and important.
Yeah, to be fair, that does make sense. Since ass is kind of his only personality trait in this first game.
I mean, to be fair, ass is pretty much everyone's personality trait except for Jim
Yeah,
and
basically.
Simone. I'm not really sure if she has a personality besides
Yeah, exists and is woman.
Yeah,
That's about it.
that's about it. Yeah.
The treasure hunter, not a thief thing almost makes me feel like that was a reference to Final Fantasy VI, which I know Yahtzee actually apparently does like. So, hmm.
What charm?
Yeah, even in the third game, I wouldn't say he has charm. He just becomes relatable as someone who's clearly suffering from PTSD and various other problems.
And he's still an ass.
Yeah, he's an ass, but you get why he's an ass at that point.
Yeah, so here's a question. Jin's been here for a couple of days. Why haven't his parents, called the police? Or anyone call the police?
Yeah, I mean, even if they couldn't find them or get in, and which is another thing I could see happening that makes sense from the supernatural cutoff perspective,
Mm-hmm.
you'd think they'd at least be looking. It would be futile, but things should be happening.
Mm-hmm. And just a huge amount of the problems with this game is that it's an idiot plot. Like,
Yeah, I mean, the kid being stupid on a dare, I can see that. That at least kind of makes sense. The other three, you're just morons.
not only that, but again, we have the TV crew that didn't bother to check up on Simone after she had disappeared. We have Jim's parents apparently not trying to look for him. We have or whatever the hell is going on with Phil. Just
Yeah, it's like we know Trilby's a loner, so no one's going to be looking for him. That's fine. That makes sense. And he just got here. But
what's everyone else's excuse?
yeah, and that's the other thing. School would also probably be looking.
Mm-hmm.
It's just even if his parents like were abusive, neglectful pricks who gave no fucks what happened to the little shit. The school, at the very least, has a legal obligation to find out where the fuck one of their students went to. That you were all idiots. That's the pattern I see. I mean, I can see the individual trap thing, but that's a bit of a leap in logic at this point.
Also, a point against it might be that yes, it's trapping them individually, but it didn't seem to stop them from encountering each other.
Mm-hmm.
So if it doesn't mind having multiple people in it at one time, meeting and talking with one another, why wouldn't it? Why would it even bother trapping people individually?
Yeah.
Scorpion Spear 77 says, Kid being stupid on a dare is also the plot of Five Nights at Candy's too. I haven't played Five Nights at Candy's, honestly.
I haven't either. I haven't looked into too many of the fan games for FNAF, even though I like the main series.
Mm,
And some of them seem like they're really good, but it's just kind of the case of you have to sift
there's so many of
because,
them.
yeah. I mean, Yahtzee, if you get tired enough, even the wall or the floor is going to start to look comfortable after a little bit.
I mean, let's see, there's a sofa in the living room. There's a sofa in the wherever the hell that is.
That rocking chair.
Yep, there's a rocking chair as long as they don't mind sleeping in the same room as another person. And hell,
Yeah.
there's carpeting, so they can sleep on the floor.
Yeah. Like I said, once you get tired enough, pretty much anything starts to look pretty appealing as long as you can lay down and go to sleep.
Mm-hmm. And then things actually got interesting for a little while. A very little while.
Hero music.
To try and save us. Yeah, yeah, so we noticed that he looks like cheese.
Yeah. I mean, the welder mask butcher's apron combo isn't a bad idea. So.
Yeah, the only question is where did the welding mask come from?
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to tell that it's supposed to be, Trilby himself. Because, we don't see him without his hat until now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no one likes Trilby as the virtually unshakable Holmes-like figure, trust me. Anyway, let's go watch some TV first.
Oh, so the police were looking for her.
Well, that's better.
Yeah.
What, y'all can't get over the non-existent ravine?
I mean, to be fair, it's like having the only key wouldn't really stop the police. The thing that would be stopping the police would be whether they had the search warrant or not.
Mm-hmm.
Once they have that authorization,
They can just bang it down.
yeah, they can break the fucking doors down if they want to.
Now, granted, we do find out later that they can't break the doors down, but we don't get to hear this right now, so it just seems
Yeah.
kind of stupid.
technically kind of impressive, as depending on the make of the house. Those little doors can actually be kind of sturdy.
Mm. Granted, I guarantee you he wasn't actually thinking about that, but
Yeah. It's like breaking down a door much harder than you actually think it might be.
it's not that different from boarding school. Alright. Don't mind me, I can't actually remember how to get to my inventory.
Yeah, no, you're fine. You think there'd just be a button?
But that would be logical.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah, I was gonna say it's the one that's
Visibly
got
broken,
the
but it doesn't look in the tiny ass window, so.
yeah. Yeah, fair enough. I forget that I'm getting the actual what the game probably should be ratio as opposed to
What I'm
the
getting.
tiny ass. Yeah, the tiny ass box that's like what 100 by 100 pixels in length.
It's I think I could probably say it's about four. It's like 2 by 2 stamps. That's about how big it is.
Yeah, I remember when you first did this and showed me the screenshot. I about shit myself. I'm just like, just what the fuck?
Why would you make a game that can't be seen? And then have this fucking pixel hunting. Always fucking pixel hunting.
Huh. So I just went and looked up the wiki because I was legitimately curious if there might have been like an option to make it bigger. Because I know some old DOS games are kind of like that. You have to hit like Alt Enter or something, and it'll full screen it.
Mhm.
Apparently, if you go to the winsetup.exe, there is an option to upscale it to 640 by 400. Its default is 320 by 200, so that doubles the screen size.
Oh,
It's
so I'd
not much
actually be able to
bigger.
see, but well,
Yeah,
I'll see if I can do that with 7 days because I'm gonna need it.
yeah.
All right, so Thank you, God. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, the interface, which gets like maybe 1% better in the sequel.
I can actually see what I'm clicking. That's an
Yeah.
improvement.
It was the one thing that was improved on for the sequel.
Hmm.
Was not worth what we lost, though.
No. Sir Clarence Defoe, last of the long-running Defoe line, was found dead yesterday in his home. Defoe, 24, was found hanging from a tree in the front yard of Defoe Manor. His recent bride, Julia Swanson Defoe, was also found dead in the mansion, apparently stabbed to death. Inspector Jacob Barnes, the officer in charge of the investigation, has closed the case. There's no mystery here, he said. Defoe killed his wife and then himself. We have already disproved the possibility of a third party. That is not how police investigations work. Sir
Yeah.
Clarence... Sir Clarence's solicitor, Michael Chasem, however, has gone on record questioning the inspector's judgment. The last I saw Sir Clarence, he was infinitely content. He would never have committed such an act. Plus, there was no suicide note. Because, you know, there's always a suicide note.
Yeah. Like, the bigger thing would just be the psychological profile not matching up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yes, maybe it is a murder-suicide, but you're missing one thing very important: the motive.
Defoe Manor, one of the country's more notorious stately homes, is renowned for being a great source of untold wealth. But what is the curse that surrounds the creaking house? The mansion was built in the early 19th century by the legendary explorer Roderick Defoe in celebration of his retirement and marriage. Sir Roderick disappeared along with his only son on the 15th year anniversary of his wife's sudden death. After that, the house fell into the possession of a succession of heirs, most of whom died or disappeared in mysterious circumstances. The house was left abandoned after the last heir was thought to have died in 1946 until the recent appearance of Clarence Defoe, who managed to prove his connection to the lineage and inherit the house. So, yeah, it's been abandoned for about 50 years then?
Yeah.
So, fair enough that the windows are dirty, but they really should have just been boarded up.
Yeah. And I can kind of buy supernatural reasons as to why, the government hasn't just repossessed the house, being abandoned for so long and done something with it. Just kind of one of those things that people might think about and then instantly forget.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's another thing that I just see in things like that, and I'm just like, it makes sense. There's something else working here, so people might think, I should sell this, or I should do something with this, out of their head the next thing, and they just don't think about it ever again.
Mm-hmm.
And then they might remember when they see it, but then they turn away and something else, and then gone again.
Yep. Alright. Sir Roderick Defoe, later Sir Roderick Defoe, is probably the most famous of the lineage. Using a lot of the inheritance he attained when his parents died suddenly, he embarked on a series of adventures throughout the globe, earning quite a reputation as a colonial explorer. He retired from adventuring at the age of 40 when he met his future bride, Belinda Rothman, and fell instantly in love. He built a luxury manor in the English countryside, and the couple moved in as soon as work was complete. By all accounts, the couple were deliriously happy, which is what made Belinda's sudden death while giving birth to their only son, Matthew, all the more tragic. Sir Roderick was in mourning for a long time, leaving the upbringing of Matthew in the hands of numerous nannies and tutors. When he did finally start taking an interest in his son, he was known to be bitterly disappointed as his son rejected the idea of joining the army, preferring to pursue art and literature. As Matthew neared the age of 15, however, he and his father seemed to grow closer. They didn't always see eye to eye, but they seemed to understand each other and offer unconditional love, which will be completely retconned when we actually see their relationship in the third game.
Yep.
And then on Matthew's 15th birthday, he and Roderick disappeared. A servant found bloodstains in one of the ruins, but no bodies were found. The fate of Sir Roderick and his wayward son remains a mystery to this day, the first of many mysterious disappearances connected to the Defoe line and the family house. Alright. Now that that's done with, maybe I hope I've gotten all the triggers.
Yeah. And you did get the newspaper off of the thing.
I
Read
got
that,
the
yeah.
newspaper, I read the newspaper, I better have hit all the event flags.
Did you have to talk to what's his face out in the backyard too
I think so,
beforehand?
yeah. I don't actually remember what the event flag was for, I just remember there was an event flag that had me kept going back and forth, it was really pissing me off. So it's like,
Yeah.
also, how the fuck can you not tell what's in there? That is still my opinion on that.
Oh yeah, it's like anyone who's been to a community pool knows you can see the bottom of that son of a bitch no matter what the depth is.
Like, they want to say it's cloudy, but it's not that cloudy.
Just say it's opaque and not haven't been used in a long time. Like no one got to the pool.
Just
Have
color
it
it
be
green.
green. Yeah, have it be green and disgusting still.
Mm.
But like if you say that motherfucker's blue and full of chlorine, you can see in it very
Mm-hmm.
easily.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, game AJ, he's about about 25 feet and then 10 feet back that way and 10 feet straight down.
Say again? I wasn't paying attention.
It's just asking about AJ. I'm just like, yeah, if you go back about 25 feet and then look 10 feet straight down, you'll find AJ. Don't know how you missed him. The pool's clear, crystal clear.
I mean, to be fair, this is an actual, that's not a bad plan. It's just, not gonna work.
Yeah. Although, also, I don't think you'd be able to find a tomb if it's stone. Like, maybe if you could find one of the old something metal, but
Well, I mean, they may have caskets in there that have metal in them. So
true.
I'm
But
kind
would a
of
metal detector go that far down? I don't know. I've never
well,
used one. I'd assume they
yeah, I'm
don't go
pretty sure
that far.
Yahtzee hasn't had one, hasn't used one either. So, and give me 1 second.
Yeah, you're fine.
But yeah, like from what I understand, the problem isn't whether it'll detect it; it's getting it to not, detect one specific thing.
Yeah. There's also the fact that you know the tomb might just be a tomb, and those generally only have one entrance
Yep.
and one exit because that's all they need.
Why are there trees outside the wall? You know, where there's supposed to be a ravine.
Plot hole.
Yeah, just another one. Okay. Alright, so to progress with the day, we need to get that damn metal detector because apparently, I don't want to get dirt. Are you fucking? Yeah, I really feel your urgency to leave, Trilby. Anyway, to progress the day, we need to be able to drain the pool. To drain the pool, we need to get the metal detector because apparently Trilby can't be asked to just follow the damn pipe and dig it up.
Yeah.
Alright, and to get the metal detector, we need to show AJ that... which one was it?
Oh yeah, that's right. There was supposed to be some collection.
Yeah, one of them has a book on... Not that one. Has a map of the house, but... There we go. There we go. Alright. Newspaper... An incredibly shitty architectural plan.
Yeah.
Like, there really is no excuse for why this looks so bad. The MS Paint existed back then. I know there was a line tool.
Yeah.
Especially since he obviously used the text tool. Alright. So now we have to go show this to AJ. So we have to go all the way back across the house. Padding, 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 padding.
Eh. Still not as bad as the fucking ship.
No, it was. Well, at least the ship had a damn elevator.
Yeah. But I hated everyone on the ship more, so I wanted to see less of it.
This is true.
To be fair, this game is more colorful than the next one, too.
Alright, so... Use plan... Fuck you, Trilby.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, I found this. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like your plan would work. It was a good idea, but no sense in wasting, energy on something that's not going to work, and try and find another way. But no, that would require being civil.
Mm-hmm. For fuck's sake, Trilby. Okay. Use metal detector. Fuck you, asshole.
Yeah, some things aren't obvious, Yahtzee.
This is why game testing is a thing.
Yeah. And hell, sometimes even obvious puzzles tend to go over our heads. Cough, those fucking statues, cough.
Statues?
That fuck up I had in Jabu Jabu's belly with that
Oh.
statue thing.
Those things.
Yeah. I kind of looked back on it, I'm just like, well, that's actually fucking obvious. Naturally, that's why I missed it. Oh, thank God the music's back.
Yeah! Save us, music! By the way, why is there blood on him? He's been in a pool for God knows how long. The blood should be
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah, it's like maybe some staining, which is probably what the lighter bit is, I could see, due to the white of the shirt, but everything else, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're the one by acting like this being more incriminating. Like, I don't deny that Trilby's absolute ironclad thing doesn't look suspicious, but also being the person going into hysterics also looks suspicious.
What team spirit?
Yeah, no one was really working together. It was more just like, oh, we've all been put into an involuntary sleepover. And then the hostilities grew after a bit.
Really, after Trilby showed up.
Yeah. Though, to be fair, that might have to do with the fact that the rest of these fucking lemmings don't have any initiative, which is one thing I can at least give Trilby. By virtue of being player character, it means he's going to try and do something.
Yeah, but normally Simone's the one that actually gets stuff done. I mean, she's the one that breaks into that one door. So it's like.
Yeah, true.
I mean, this story twist was done well. I'll give it that much.
Yeah.
I didn't really fall for it, but.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. It's like a twist. You should be able to see it coming, especially on retrospective. Shit that comes out of nowhere just for the sake of being a twist is a bad twist.
more TV time.
Wow, these people declare suicide fast.
Yeah. One person committing suicide around this time would just be a coincidence. A murder suicide and then another suicide of someone all related with this house in the center would be throwing up a lot of red flags.
I mean, honestly, my thought would be, the solicitor had been the one that murdered Clarence Defoe and his wife,
Mm-hmm.
and then killed himself out of grief or guilt or something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the first thing that comes to mind. Just
Yeah.
there's be some kind of connection between it all. Alright, and I think this is the stupid tree thing, so...
Oh yeah, that part.
Yeah, that part. I can't blame AJ for his opinion on Trilby at this point.
Yeah. Or I'd rather think that's Philip. I think AJ's the one
Whatever.
that yeah. I mean they're all interchangeable.
Some asshole.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta run to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back.
Alright, so that's done. That is a really bad car. Badly sprited car. That's what it was. Kid, if Trilby could get into the front yard, do you think he'd still be here right now? Now, this actually isn't too bad for weird and surreal, but it's just poorly implemented, especially why the car is here. And that is... Trilby did not bring his lockpicks into the house. Yeah, so the Great Master Thief dropped his lockpicks out of his pocket on the way out, and then also forgot to add his emergency lockpick that he supposedly always keeps. Seriously, fuck this shit.
There we go. Now I'm back.
Yeah, lockpicks.
Oh, right, that.
Yeah, that bullshit.
Where did he keep that again? In his tie or
In
something?
his tie, yes, but he didn't actually keep it in his tie.
Yeah, or I could figure a good place to keep something like that would be in the lining of your hat.
No, then you definitely can't forget it. Also, how
Yeah.
did he put a... That's a two-person saw he's apparently stuck in his pockets.
To be fair, he probably shoved it in the same place he shoves his umbrella.
Point. Granted, that doesn't make it any less stupid, but...
Yeah, no.
Okay, so... Alright. Which means that we need to get into that room, we need to go another way. Alright, so let's try to go from next door.
Alright, the part where he does his, I want to say Batman impression, but that's an insult to Batman. And I don't like insulting Batman.
Insulting Batman ends with broken legs.
Yeah, it does.
The Diary of Sir Roderick Defoe. Work on the house is going well. It should be completed by the end of July. Belinda is already excited about the forthcoming wedding and spends many hours of the day going over even the smallest details over and over again. Not since our early courtship has she been so giddy with joy. Damn it. Hate when that happens. So giddy with joy. It softens my heart to see her smile, and she smiles often. I am wondering why I didn't retire sooner. I am only now having the opportunity to write this, as it has been a most hectic day. The wedding went without a hitch, and the house was ready for us to move in as soon as the ceremony was over. Belinda insisted on consummating our marriage immediately. I am sure, dear diary, this house can expect to hear the laughter of children before 1806 is out. A romantic day for our announcement. The physician has just left, confirming that Belinda is with child. A child we can expect to be born in July. Pretend it says July, guys. We have already decided to name the child Matthew if a boy or Jane if a girl. July 28th, 1806. Belinda is dead. I will never forget her face, ash gray, contorted with pain. The child is healthy. Would that it had never come about and spared me this fresh hell. May 24th. Matthew showed me the painting of the grounds he had created. I worry about the boy. Why can't he have healthier interests, like soldiering? The painting was fair, I suppose, but I would rather my child be less of a weakling. July 28th, 1821. This is the anniversary of the night I unleashed a horror which I shall remove from this world. May God forgive me. That's the last entry. Yeah, so they totally had unconditional love for each other later on. Yep. Totally.
Yep, totally. Absolutely. To be fair, I could imagine it being embellished by locals not knowing what happened.
How does he figure that this is the room the heir picked? I mean, it has Roderick Defoe's diary, and I would just assume it's Roderick Defoe's or something. And those are scratches underneath the window, aren't there? Okay. Alright, let's, Okay, so we need to get to that window there. So... Arpeggio, you want to explain how that makes no sense, or...
Uh, yeah, it's like it's kind of one of those perspective things because it honestly doesn't look like, from the way the tree is drawn, that it's in the way. You just kind of swing across, or just kind of use it to brace yourself and just kind of not repel, I guess, but just move across.
How would the tree even get in the way?
Hell if I know.
I mean, like,
Actually,
a couple branches. It doesn't work like that.
yeah. It honestly also looked like there was a bit of a ledge down there, which you might, if you're fair on your feet, you could just kind of sidle across.
Sidle.
There, yeah, sidle.
Alright, so, since we need to get rid of that, that tree,
The tree that just obstructs just everything.
I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to think about it. We need to get rid of the tree. We got a two-person saw, so we need another person. So obviously we need to bring Jim down and have him carry around a potentially dangerous piece of equipment.
What could possibly go wrong?
Also, where the hell did Jim go? There he is. There we go. Because that's totally how trees move when they fall.
At least he owns up that it's pathetic.
Point, but it doesn't save it. seriously, Simone continues to be more proactive than Trilby for the most part.
Yeah.
Or I guess they're equally proactive. It's just Trilby's such an ass.
Yeah. Leather does not tear easily.
Logic. There is
Yeah.
none. You know there's no logic here.
No, there's some logic here. We have not
Yeah.
gone to the realm of no logic yet.
Yeah, that'll be next game.
Yeah.
Despite Angela and her... don't fucking think about it.
Yeah, I could already feel my brain just preparing to eat itself in self-defense of the next game.
I could say that it's not that bad, but no, it absolutely is that bad.
Yeah, oh, it's absolutely, that bad.
Also, reminded this is day 3 with 0 food.
Yep. I mean, I've heard people can go a while without food, so as long as they're...
But
Yeah. But they'd be feeling the effects of it by this point.
and not only that, but they're doing some pretty strenuous activity too, especially with, you know, cutting down an entire tree.
Yeah.
Or digging up the yard as AJ was doing. Damn it. There we go.
Yeah, that's why he never uses his grappling hook launcher after this game ever again, as far as
And
I
he only
remember.
used it 1 time in this game. So, or 2 times. Sorry, 2
Yeah.
times.
You know, being a gadgeteer genius is something I can get behind and wouldn't mind seeing, like, more of. It's just, nothing's really done with it.
And let's pick up the teddy bear, because we need to pick up the teddy bear.
Yeah, I don't even remember what it was involved with.
Salty bear on a stick.
Oh, right. That. Right. Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, The Secret Diary of Matthew Defoe. July 28th. Today is my 8th birthday. Nanny said I would soon be a big strong man like my father. I wanted to see him today, but he wouldn't come out of his study all day. Nanny says he always gets cross on this day, but it's not because of me. August 5th. I found a new friend. He is behind the door in the kitchen and he doesn't have a name. He likes me to sit and talk with him, but Father gets very angry when he finds me doing this. I asked Father who the boy behind the door was, but he told me there was no boy behind the door and it was just a silly fantasy. May 24th. I showed Father the painting I just finished. He said it was quite good, which is the best thing he has ever said. While he was in a good mood, I asked if I could go and look behind the door in the kitchen. He pretended not to hear me. July 28th. My father has done a terrible thing. All this time he pretended there was no boy behind the door, and now this. There's blood all over the kitchen floor. I will do what I can. Then we can be a family together and be happy. That's where it ends, except for a little ink blot just underneath the text. I don't want to fucking do the salty bear puzzle.
Yeah, I just, had all that come rushing back to me. I was like, oh, right.
That
It's like-
particular bit of stupidity.
Like, the idea of using a bear, I guess, is kind of a fetish for the,
Religion
Detection.
fetish, that is to say, not a... Other
yes, that is actually what I meant.
No, I'm just saying for
I know.
people in the audience that are... Since I'm putting this up, he means religious fetish, not the other kind of fetish.
Yeah, it does actually have a different meaning that's still used in some things. But it's like, it does kind of make sense. It's just the puzzle itself is a fucking pixel hunt. And it's just... ugh.
Tie the possession in question to a stick and dip it in salt. Next, wave it over the place where the subject sleeps. When you hold it in front of you, the object should now indicate in which direction the owner lies. Like, it makes sense, it's just really stupid, and the other thing is, you know, padding,
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those. It's like if you had just done it over the bed, and then it just took you to where it needed to be. It would probably really help with the pacing and everything, just to advance.
But unfortunately, use the cord on the bear, and now I have a shibari bear thing. Then tie the bear to the stick. And now I have to go all the way down to the kitchen and stick the bear in the salt. Use salty mustard. And now I have a salty bear on a stick. Then I have to go all the way back up.
And then after that, yeah, I think you have to come all the fucking way back down again.
Yes.
Yeah.
I go all the way up to Matthew's bedroom again. Because when this game isn't padding with words, it's padding with really stupid puzzles. Wave it over his bed. And look. And to save some time, a little bit of time, I'm just gonna go straight to where it wants us to go.
Man, I haven't seen puzzles of this particular nature in a long time. As in, the only game I can think of where I remember a puzzle similar to that was required to advance the game was an NES game.
Okay, so amazingly, it doesn't actually want us to dig up the tile. What it wants us to do... Well, let's see. Look. And... Where is the damn thing? Plan. And since I can't make heads or tails of anything this thing is supposed to be trying to say, so I guess this is a really stupid playout. Okay, so that's the front door, or the foyer. That's the room with the painting. That's the TV room, and then that's the fireplace room. This is a really stupid layout.
Yeah.
Okay, and then that's the dining room, and this is the kitchen. And so what Trilby is talking about is this thing here. Because... there's a hole in the wall there. it gets interesting again, but not for very long.
Yeah.
Music's back though. That's good.
Mhm.
That's always good.
Yep.
Southwest is this way.
Yeah, I swear I've heard this music before. I legitimately think it was probably from Shadowgate. Which I will be very surprised if you've actually played Shadowgate.
Especially if it was an adventure game, because I played very few adventure games back then.
It is. It was originally for like Mac, and it got ported to the NES along with a couple of its
Yeah, I definitely
fellow
never played because
games.
I never had a Mac or an NES.
Yeah.
Well, we found Roderick and Matthew. I couldn't be arsed is like Yahtzee's excuse for everything.
Yeah, it's like, well, at least you're admitting you're being lazy.
And by the way, kudos to Trilby for hearing something break all the way across the house while he was underground.
Yeah.
And then we're going to do the stupid thing and pick up broken glass with our bare hands.
Yeah, it'll have a very large, very stupid role in the next game.
Can we pretend that didn't happen?
I'm trying. It's so but the stupid, it claws at my brain.
I don't want it. Can we just pretend that Trilby's Notes was the next game?
That would be lovely.
And then Simone fulfills our deepest wishes. Speaking of dodgy animations. Listen, I'm playing the world's smallest violin. I mean, you don't need a key. Technically, all you need is a small screwdriver or a thin bit of metal.
Yep.
I hope you guys like dialogue trees.
Funnily enough, I do. This is just not good.
Yeah, I think it's the one where you have to be delirious with guilt, if I remember right.
I wasn't sure if it was that one or the one where it was talking to me now. I just know it's the one where, he strangling with the tie. There we go. Yep. All right.
Oh, right. The ties where he kept his backup lockpicks. That's right.
You fucking moron. Yeah, the importance of forethought that if you hadn't been able to trick her into giving you back your tie, you wouldn't have been able to do. Which is why putting it in his hat would have been a much smarter idea, like you were talking about.
Yeah, his hat, or hell, keep him in your fucking shoes. Or hell, have one in both. In fact, have one in your tie, one in your hat, and one set in your shoes. You can never have enough lockpicks, trust me.
Learned that from RPGs, have you?
Yes.
Tabletop or regular?
Both.
Okay, so now we have to go up to the bathroom, I believe. Nope. Really quick. You know what the best part or feeling is right now? We only have one more expository cutscene to get through before the end of the game.
That is true.
Anyway, what were you saying?
I was just saying, I actually do like it with the paintings and portraits changing as the game goes along. I've always liked that. That's just a nice atmospheric thing.
Yeah, if only the rest of the game was subtle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because you can't. The problem with what happened next game was that you're an idiot that can't see the difference between annoyance and suspense.
Yeah. No, it's not that the chase sequences were a bad idea, it's that you put the RNGs in control of them.
We're both gonna have a lot to say about that one. You more than me because you'll be concentrating on not dying.
Yeah. That, and I'll also be, spending a good amount of my time bitching about, the game where science goes to die.
Yeah, again, you're gonna be doing a lot of the talking on that one because I'm gonna be, again, concentrating on not dying.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna fucking show off that towel bar.
Yeah.
That fucking towel bar.
Yeah. Oh, when you start up the next game, first thing you should do is hit Alt-Enter. I was checking around, and on Steam forums, apparently that said it will full screen the game.
Ooh, okay. Yes, I will do that.
I mean, even if it doesn't work, it doesn't hurt to try.
I may have to adjust the window to fit it, but I am okay with that, trust me.
That's fine, we can sit here and... I mean, it delays us from having to play the game for longer, or you at least.
by the way, if you pick the wrong dialogue option, she'll just railroad you into the correct one anyway, so it doesn't matter. Not that I'm complaining. I mean, this is the last expository shit we have to go through, so I am okay with it.
Yeah. Railroading is one of those things that it can be okay sometimes, and it is necessary to an extent, but well, here's something else I can give in this game's favor. It knows that isolating children and doing horrible things to them is a bad thing, unlike Mists of Avalon.
This is true, but that's like... that's not a bar.
Yeah, I know, but you know, I hate Mists of Avalon
point,
so
but
much that
yeah.
you know I'll seize anything I can use to bash that particular fucking abomination.
This part is going to get retconned in later games, so don't pay too much attention to it.
And again, to be fair, this is not a bad plot, and this is not a bad exposition dump of it.
But it's at the end of this game.
Yeah.
Which is mediocre at best.
Yep.
mean, to be fair, when Quavok on Something Awful Forums went through this game, and Yahtzee actually joined in on the thread, he pointed out that, he agreed with a lot of the flaws that Quavok pointed out, which are a lot of the ones that we're pointing out too. And he made some suggestions on how else he would have done it. Like, for example, he would have kept the lock. The car thing wouldn't have happened. He would have. You would have had the lockpick, but you would need a specialized lockpick for breaking into that one door, and so you would need to get into the shed for like some kind of metal shaving kind of power tool, and then shave that into the lockpick that you need to get into that one room.
Which, to be fair, kind of makes a bit of sense. It's an archaic house. The lock might be a bit different. Now, to be fair, that would normally probably mean it'd be easier to pick, but this was a specially built house by someone wealthy. Might have been something different, so that makes some sense.
Since it was being renovated, it may have had a more modern lock that would have been more difficult. Another one of the changes he suggested was bringing it so that it wasn't at the end of the 18th century, but not at the beginning of the 19th century, but at the beginning of the 20th century, so there was only a 100-year gap, and it was more you wouldn't have all these long lists of descendants that inherited the house. It just would have been Roderick Defoe's and then Clarence Defoe.
Yeah.
Which would have also simplified things a lot.
Yeah. And to be fair, Yahtzee's statements on the entire series that he doesn't regret making them just because it was a good learning experience, and while they were flawed, and he acknowledges that, it was a thing. It's like, I'm a different person now than I was then, and kind of things like that, and I can respect that,
It's still a really bad game that has, and it's, there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
But,
And again, this is the one of the bleh of this series that I give, the most credit, because again, it was the first game.
The second and fourth games had no such excuse.
Yeah.
Alright. And let's go check the TV again, which I forgot to do before, but oh well.
It's not that big a deal. Honestly, this late in the game, I would be half expecting the TV reporters to start talking to Trilby. Being actually possessed and just kind of the spirit mocking him and things like that.
Well,
but maybe that's just kind of a me thing.
To be fair, John Defoe doesn't have enough of a mind to do that.
Yeah, this is true.
Could have some disjointed imagery or something like that, though.
Yeah. Alright, we could go with a little thing I've been headcaning, and that little figure that appears in that thing could be the tall man. So, maybe he could do it and kind of screw around with things.
Yeah, he wouldn't actually have to be... he can't physically show up, but...
Find a medium to get through, which in the form of pictures, both static and moving in the form of the TV.
Okay, the library was this one. something about summoning angry spirits in there, huh? Simply enough, place the spirit's original body in a place of fire and death. Return it its old clothes. Then read aloud the following passage, omitting nothing. There's just a load of magical gobbledygook here, blah 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 blah. Warning, the summoning of a wraith will often bring forth other unquiet spirits who will often haunt those who hold their possessions. Yeah, this is not... Y'all can see where this is going.
Yeah.
Okay, so... Okay, and then... use that on that. And yep, we're doing it again. This is marginally less stupid than last time, though. Marginally.
Yeah.
Because we don't have to do it twice, we just have to do it once. Alright, so... use... this thingy on that thingy. And they're just... Phil's just lying there. Alright, and then use that thingy on that thingy. And save myself a lot of grief again.
Yeah, because it's back to the fireplace room, if I remember right. Yeah.
No, it's up to the bathroom.
Oh, that's right. The bathroom first, and then the fireplace is
And,
after.
well, then I have to go get the other two, and then the fireplace room, but yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because this can't be that easy, you know?
Mm-hmm. Also, the picture disappeared.
Looks fine to me.
No, the one that was in the dining room.
Oh, yes.
Was a skeleton, now it's just a blank, empty portrait.
Ah, yes, okay. Sorry, I thought you were talking about the streaming picture.
No.
Southwest. Straight down. No. Just no.
Yeah, no. Could have just found it up in the kitchen under those same tiles.
Mm-hmm. Alright, apparently can't do it now. I have to go to the fireplace room, then go pick everyone else up, then do the thing.
Unfortunate.
It's very annoying, Yahtzee. But we're almost there.
Yeah. And hey, it means we're almost to the point where more good music shows up.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so we're in a room of fire and death. Very edgy. Bones.
saying that a lot coming up.
Yes. Nothing is gonna save us from the second game, though.
Yeah, no. The music's gonna try so hard.
Music deserves to be in a better game.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to give this to Simone.
Not the time, dear.
Please don't shoot, Matthew. No, Jim. Then we give the teddy bear to Jim, and it's sort of amusing that Trilby's been holding on to the teddy bear this whole time. Alright. Lots of cutscenes.
Because the Wraith and the Zombie aren't interchangeable yet, see.
And he knows this, but
Hmm.
you
Also, this theme that's playing right now is most excellent.
Trilby.
Yep. Thank God you actually have some character development between now and the third game.
Mm-hmm.
And thus the first one comes to an end.
Also, the music's from RPG Maker, and that makes sense. That those games have absurdly good music.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost sad that they're just in that and not in something more official, so that they're more recognized.
And I'm gonna go ahead and skip the interview thing because it's not that interesting.
No.
Alright. Alright then. Gonna do a break for about 10 minutes, and then when we get back, we'll start on 7 days of 7 days of Skeptic.
Which is actually 8 days,
And,
as I remember.
yeah, and no one's actually a skeptic in it.
Well, there are
Not-
skeptics.
not
You
the
just
main
don't play as
character.
one.
Alright then.
No.
Alright. We'll see you guys shortly.
Yeah. This is gonna require some preparation.
This is gonna require me to refresh my drink.
Yeah.